Today I'm going to do a video on chisels, and these are masonry chisels. I got my pitching tools and my star chisels and my point chisels and flat chisels, and most of these were used during the 1800s. I'm cleaning the garage out. They came from grandparents and uncles who used them, and I'm going to explain how they used them and what they use them for. So here we go. First set of chisels we're going to start out with is a pitching tool. They're flat, you see? They're a flat chisel. I got tons of them here. Some of them have a slight pitch to them, but most of them are flat. And what they are is for cutting straight down. Now before we get into that, let's just look at limestone. This is the same thing they built the pyramids of Egypt out of. 98% was limestone, and it's the same thing they built out of cathedrals with. You could take a regular butter knife and scratch it. See that? You don't need hard tools to do limestone. You could take another rock and chip it. And do anything you want with it, with another harder rock. This is granite. So don't listen to them when it comes to, when they're telling you that they don't know how they built the pyramids. I have a lot of videos on that. So we're going to take this pitching tool, and I'm going to just show you. It cuts straight down, like this. See that? It cuts straight down and it goes sideways, and that's how that cuts. Just like that, no big deal. So we know how these go, and I told you about the pyramids. Now we're going to talk about point chisels. Point chisels. Why? Because they all have points on them, and there's different sizes. Now let's just take this piece of limestone and just let's say that we're trying to square it. You see that? We got this big knoll on top, right there, and that's got to come off. So all we got to do is we could take a pitching tool like this and drive into it. Sometimes it's a real hard knob on granite, so what we want to do is we want to get a point tool, and we point it out like that. See that? And we keep working that from side to side to side until, see, we're creating like little drags across it. See that? Just like that. And then after we use the point chisel, we might get what they call a tooth chisel, like this. This is a tooth chisel. And then it's easier to go through all that. You see that? Because we created valleys, and one valley will go one way and the other valley will go the other way, and we keep going till we get that big knob out of there, just like that. And then once we get that off of there, we might want to get ourselves a flat chisel. See that? These are the flat chisels right here. I got a ton of them. And then you start working it with the flat chisel. Just like that. Until you get what you want. So this is all the stuff we're using for stone. Once you get that, you get yourself a file and you file it. Or, if you didn't have a file, if you were an Egyptian, you get another stone like this and you file it like that. So it's no big deal. And then you get your squareness of the stone. So we showed you those. Now I'm going to show you what they call star chisels. You see the stars in there? These are for drilling holes. So if I wanted to drill a hole, I get the chisel. You can see the, let me back the camera up a little bit. You can see what I'm doing. See that? I put it on top and I hit it. I turn it a little bit, I hit it. I turn it, I hit it. I turn it, I hit it. Just like this. It's like a pneumatic tool. And by doing that, I create a hole. I keep going. Keep turning it. And I create my hole, and I keep going not a big deal. You just got to keep doing it. See? That's how you would cut a hole. The old timers would cut a hole in a stone. Now, while we're here, I'm going to talk about a Crandell finish. What's a Crandell finish? Well, this is what it looks like. These old churches. Here's an old example right here. Here's another example, and another example. So I did this on my videos, rock facing and shaping stones. And this is what they would do with the cathedrals. And first, they would just put a line going right through like this, so they wouldn't cut into that, you see, like this. And this could either go down or above, and then they would just get a point chisel and they just point it like that. That's called a Crandell finish, and you can see it in all those churches and old buildings back in the, you know, you go to New York City or Boston or all that. That's what they call a Crandell finish. You just use a point chisel and you go slow. And when you're putting your lines in, the reason you put your lines in is so you don't chip past that line. You see what I mean? If I went too far, I'd chip into there. But I don't want to do that, so I got that line to stop that. That is what you call a Crandell finish. So I can't really see how well I did. And I'm not going to win no trophies. But you can see how it's coming out there. Let's get some water. Kind of wash it off. Get a little better vision of it maybe. Not too bad. Couple spots here and there. See, on top here, well, that's because the stone is a little dirty, but I just could keep going. That's what you call a Crandell finish. And if you wanted to drop this down on the bottom, right here, I don't want to get into that, but you would have to go a little deeper on the sides. And you'd have to draw a line and drop that, and that's how you would get that. See that? And that goes a little deeper, and that's how you would get that relief coming up and going down. Now you could do another type of finish, which is called a machine finish or a scallop finish. And let me just show you a couple examples of that. Here's one example. Here's another example. And you could use these toothed tools to do that, even though they make other tools. See how that's going? You get the picture. It scrapes it. And they got the machines that they scrape it. I'll just show you a couple things of that. So I did a video. It's called Carving Letters in Limestone. I've done that. And in a case like this, you could just actually use a screwdriver if you wanted to and carve the letters, or you could use regular flat chisels. Sometimes they have, for carving, they have chisels which have a little bend to them to get up inside there, or straight chisels. Depending on what you're doing, that's what they're used for. Now we also have brick chisels. This is usually a brick chisel. Usually they're different sizes, different makes. You could also use a brick chisel for straightening out stuff as you go to define your lines, but they're mainly a brick chisel. Now when you see bricks with holes in it, when holes came out, by that time they had saws, but they were mostly for older brick like this that were solid. And you just pick your spot, kind of wear it down in there a little bit, and brick it off there. I think I explained the basic chisels and what they do. And the only other thing is the bigger version. They had the bigger version of chisels. And even when I was a kid, you'd never see the old timers using jackhammers. They would be putting it up like this. One guy be holding it and the other guy be knocking it out. And that's how they'd be taking all their concrete out. Or they'd be using the big ones to do their facing on the rocks. So that's about it as far as how the chisel goes. It's just a bigger version. Now we do have people use the modern stuff, even though this might be a bit old. Or you could use the air gun stuff like this, or for carving. And that's about it. I don't want to get into that stuff because I just want to show you the basics of the old school chisels and how they were used. Well, that's it. If you want to know more about rock facing, I have a whole series of videos out called Rock Facing and Shaping Stone. Or if you want to get into the modern version of the machine stuff, you can look under limestone caps, carving, and planing. So thanks for watching. I'm Mike Haduck until I do another video.